So guys, is it worth investing in Snow Hazard or Clay Burst now that these Japanese Pokemon sets are getting a reprint? Let's find out. As mentioned in a previous video guys, the Japanese equivalent to our Paldea Evolved, Snow Hazard and Clay Burst will both be getting a reprint between August and September 2024. Now the booster box prices have already started to drop, as have a lot of the single cards in these sets. The Iono, the #1 chase card from Clay Burst alone, is down more than $900. That's huge. That's a massive drop. That Iono from Clay Burst has absolutely tanked. More than $900 decrease since its all-time high about a year and a half ago. We're going to look at the top 5 chase cards from each set, work out the total value of those top 5 chase cards relative to the purchase price of the booster box to try to determine, are these sets worth investing in now that the prices are dropping. Let's just get straight into it. So there it is there guys, the Clay Burst booster box going for $64 US. I can get this in Australia for around 90 bucks, which is pretty much $60 US. So very similar price to what you guys get it in the States. Going back to sort of January, if you can see that, the start of the year, this booster box was $117 US. So it's come down in price more than $50 US. So significantly cheaper now than what you would have picked it up 6 months ago. Now I personally think this is a pretty good set to invest in, but we're going to get into why later in the video and go through some of the cards. I think the price could potentially drop a bit more than what it is at the moment. The reprints still haven't really hit yet, so I think this will come down in price a bit more. Let's get into the top 5 chase cards for this set and see what those cards are doing, guys. Here's the Iono. This is the #1 chase card for Clay Burst. Now this card has had a massive fall from glory. This card is $325 raw. If you can see that there on the screen, ungraded raw back in April 2023, so almost a year and a half ago, this card was over $1,200 raw, $1,229 ungraded. You'd have to be a sucker to pay that sort of money. Look at it now. How much money would you have lost? You'd be licking your wounds for sure. You can get this in a PSA 10 at the moment. If you can see on the far right hand side, we'll get the PSA 10 price, $565. Again, let's just look at this graph over the 6-month period. It's come down from $456 6 months ago. Look, it's still continuing to drop. I think this card price will drop a lot more. So take this information, like I say, always with a grain of salt, because these prices change all the time. This card is still dropping in price. Even if it drops a significant amount more, it's still quite an expensive #1 chase card for a relatively inexpensive booster box. So still a really good pickup. If this card goes down to $200, $150, which I don't know if it will, that would still be a pretty solid chase card for a Japanese booster box that's selling for $64. So it's still a really strong chase card for this set. That's #1. Let's go to #2 is Iono as well. So the Clay Burst, really Iono heavy. The top 2 chase cards rather are both Ionos. This one a hell of a lot cheaper, $45. Though it is a really nice card, it's a lot cheaper. $81 in a PSA 10, $73 in a PSA 9. I really love the Ionos. I personally like the Ionos, both in Paldea Evolved and in Clay Burst. I think they're really beautiful cards, and I'll be looking for an opportunity to pick most of them up at some point. I'm not going to lose sleep if I don't end up owning them all, but if I can get them at some point at a good price, I would really love to. But there you go, there's the top 2 chase cards. Let's get into the 3rd most expensive chase card from Clay Burst and see what that one's doing. It's the Tinkaton EX. Now this card's significantly cheaper. We're 3 deep now and the prices really start getting a lot cheaper. But the 3rd most expensive, 20 bucks in a PSA 10, $36 US. In a 9, $20. Identical price for the raw and the 9s in most cases, and especially in this case. But that's the Tinkaton EX. I always struggle with that pronunciation for Tinkaton. Always get tongue-tied. Now the #4 chase card for Clay Burst, the Chiyu EX. $15 for this one, $53 in a PSA 10, in a PSA 9 or a graded 9, $26. So 9.5, $29, PSA 10, $55 and $15 raw. Let's get on to the number 4 chase card. By the way, most of those first few chase cards were quite nice. I'm not a big fan of the Tinkerton, but the Chi-Yu and the Ionos are quite nice. The number 5 chase card, nothing to get excited about, guys, but it is what it is. It's the 5th most expensive one. $11 for this Superior Energy Retrieval. I don't think anyone's going to be bending over backwards to go chasing the Super Energy Retrieval card. It's just not exciting, but there it is. It's the 5th most expensive chase card in Clayburst. And the reason I like Clayburst, guys, is really, again, those Ionos. Nice cards, and the number 1 Iono, quite expensive, and it should carry this set as a decent investment. I'm going to get into some of the numbers in the back end of the video to show you what I mean when I talk about comparing the top 5 chase card, the value of the top 5 chase cards to the price of the booster box. We're going to look at that later in the video and give you some more numbers. Just solidifies it as an investment a bit more. Here's the Snow Hazard. Okay, this is the other half to the Japanese Powder Year Evolved. Okay, you've got Snow Hazard obviously in Clayburst, as I've mentioned. This one's a bit cheaper, $45 for this booster box. The Clayburst was $64, but again, the chase cards in this set are a little bit cheaper, and that's why. You'll always find, and this is my opinion, guys, and what I found through a lot of these different Pokemon sets, you'll find there's a correlation between the top 5 or the top 10 chase cards in a set and how well the booster box does as an investment. When the chase cards are really cheap, inexpensive, and easy to pull, the booster box usually isn't a good investment. Usually. That's what I found to be the case. But $45 for the Snow Hazard booster box. The number 1 chase card, $48, slightly more expensive than the cost of the booster box, which is a good sign. When a number 1 chase card costs more than the booster box, gives it some strength, as an investment. Not a crazy expensive card. $48 is not great for a number 1 chase card, but again, the booster box is not that expensive. So I mean, it's not terrible. It's definitely not a bad set. I'd say probably a mid-tier set, this one. But let's get into it. $48 for that Chien Pao EX number 1 chase card for Snow Hazard. In a PSA 10, $54. In a 9, $34. The second most expensive card, this Grusher. This Grusher is $46. Similar price to the number 1 chase card. The number 1 chase card was $48. This is $46. They're really neck and neck. And I do think this Grusher is actually a really nice card. There's just something about it that I really like. It's almost like it's got a story to this card. But $102 for a PSA 10 and $29 for a 9, and the raw version's $46. The graded 9 is $29. You could almost get 2 9s for the same price as a raw version. Very strange, but that's what the prices are showing, guys. So there you've got almost $100 of combined value for the top 2 chase cards, about $95, $96, something like that. But a really nice number 2 chase card. Let's get into the number 3 one, the Super Rod. Again, guys, I don't think anyone's going to be bending over backwards in the future to be going and chasing down a Super Rod, getting their hands on a Super Rod, unless you've got a fetish for the item cards. It is what it is. It's $33. It's the 3rd most expensive card in this set. I will not be looking to own it. I'm not interested in it, but it's not a bad price for what it is. Here's the 4th most expensive card, the Chien Pao EX. Now, this card is $20 to $21 raw. We don't actually have any PSA 10 prices here. I'm not sure if there's just a lack of PSA 10s on the market. We don't have any information there. I'll see if I can do some research after I film this video and throw a PSA 10 price on the screen, if I can find one. Otherwise, it's a mystery for now. But $21 raw for the number 4 chase card for Snow Hazard, the Chien Pao. Quite a nice card, actually. I don't mind it. And another Pokemon that's gaining some popularity is this Squawkabilly EX. A lot of these Squawkabillies have done quite well from the Powder Year Evolved sets and the Snow Hazard sets. $18 raw, $33 in a 10, and $15 in a 9, $21 in a 9.5. Not a crazy expensive card, quite a simple card, but it is nice. The Squawkabilly card is quite nice, and that's the 5th most expensive card from Snow Hazard. There's the top 5 chase cards from Clayburst and the top 5 from Snow Hazard, guys. There they are. What do you think? Do you like those chase cards? Are you interested in picking any up? Do you think these cards are going to drop a lot more in price with these reprints? I think some of these cards still have a way to go. I think a lot of them are still going to drop in price a bit. But in saying that, I think long term, especially the Clayburst booster box with that Iono, I think is going to be a decent investment. This Snow Hazard, I would say, is probably a mid-tier investment. It's not a crazy solid investment. It's not going to shoot the lights out, I don't think. But if you do like some of those chase cards in Snow Hazard, it's probably a fairly safe investment. It's probably going to go up reasonably well over a long enough period of time. You could take it or leave it with Snow Hazard. Clayburst, personally, I will be picking up Clayburst. I think it's a pretty solid investment. And just before you go, guys, I really wanted to just give you guys some of the numbers. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I like to work out the value of the top 10 chase cards from a set, or in the Japanese sets, more likely the top 5 chase cards. I like to work out the total combined value of those top 5 relative to the purchase price of the booster box and give each one a percentage. So I've done that here. I've done that here with these Japanese sets. And what I can tell you guys is the top 5 chase cards from Clayburst add up to $416 of value at the moment. This will change in time as these single card prices drop. But at the moment, the top 5 chase cards from Clayburst add up to $416. Mainly because of that number 1 chase card, that Iono. It represents most of that value. At $416 versus the purchase price of the booster box at $64 means that those top 5 chase cards from Clayburst add up to 650% of the purchase price of the booster box. Now, when I've done these formulas in other sets, whether it be English or Japanese, whenever the percentage is more than 200 or 300%, that really shows me that it's a mid-tier to strong investment, especially anything over 300 or 350%. This is 650%. Again, the top 5 chase cards add up to 650% of the value of the booster box. To me, the numbers don't lie. The numbers will change over time, but for now, right now, early August 2024, that is a really solid set. I'm definitely investing in Clayburst based on these numbers, and I'm not worried that the single card prices are going to drop in price a bit more. I also think the booster box price is going to drop a little bit more, and I'll be looking to pick it up in the next month or two. Clayburst, I'll let you know when I pick it up, but I'm definitely investing. It's a solid investment for my sealed collection, guys. Snow Hazard is a little bit different, still quite solid, but nothing compared to Clayburst. Snow Hazard, the top 5 chase cards in Snow Hazard add up to $167 of value, representing 371% of the purchase price of the booster box. Now that is really good numbers. That's a really strong set as well. But compared to Clayburst, it's not. Compared to Clayburst, it's kind of worth like half the value of Clayburst. Like Clayburst is worth, to me, almost twice as much as Snow Hazard. You know, just based on those numbers. But anyway, guys, I don't want to ramble on too much. Clayburst, I'm definitely investing in. Snow Hazard is not a bad investment based on these numbers. It's still a solid investment. And for $46, I think I said $46. Let's have a look here. $45 for the booster box price, right? That's a nothing burger. Like if you can afford to put some money into Snow Hazard, if you want to get one of each Snow Hazard and Clayburst, really strong combined investment. If you just want to stick to the Clayburst, really solid investment. 650% of value from those top 5 chase cards. God damn, that's a lot of value. Clayburst, I'm picking it up. Are you guys picking it up? Are you interested in Japanese? Are you simply not interested and you just stick to English? Either way, I'm happy for you. Happy investing, happy collecting. Let me know in the comments what you think of this video, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on the chase card. Bye everyone. Bye.